And back here with Matt Norlander, let's welcome in CBS Sports bracketologist Jerry Palm here to talk winners and losers. Jerry, start with you. Who helped their tournament resume the most here on Saturday?
Well, I'm actually going to go with Alabama, which, is at the top of the bracket. And you would think, a bubble team would help themselves the most, and certainly some of them did. But Alabama, because of the win at Auburn today, can still compete for the fourth #1 seed in the bracket. Had they lost today, that would have been over for them. So Alabama still can compete for a fourth #1 seed, along with Florida, Tennessee, and Michigan State because of this win today at Auburn.
I'm going to stick in the SEC, and I'm going to say Oklahoma by virtue of leveling its season series with the Longhorns going 1-1. And then it's really a week-long winner because Porter Moser's program was able to beat Missouri by double digits earlier this week in a big spot in Norman. Then they go on the road in Austin. Huge for the Sooners, which can now vault into the bracket with a bit more security heading into the SEC tournament. Oh, by the way, that SEC tournament, I could pick the SEC as a winner because every single SEC tournament game will involve a projected NCAA tournament team. It's incredible. Another winner for me, I have to go with Drake. It was able to avoid a loss here, and in the process, the Bulldogs get to the Missouri Valley Championship final. I think Jerry and I might disagree on this one. It is a personal opinion here. Drake, as virtue of getting to this point with a 27-3 record against Division I, 29-3 overall, but 27-3, it is really knocking on the door of all-time stuff in terms of best record for teams that could be in at-large and maybe potentially be held out of the tournament. My belief is that resume-based metrics will play a real role in determining how teams get seeded and put into the field. And Drake, unquestionably, when we get to Sunday morning, will be a top 40 resume in all of college basketball. They're a big winner for me, Hakeem.
Jerry, no team with 29 wins has been left out of the NCAA tournament as an at-large. Is Drake in no matter the outcome on Sunday?
Absolutely not. They've got a nice win.
Okay.
They beat Vanderbilt. But, this is, if they got to keep in mind, if they need an at-large bid, we're talking about another bad loss. It'd be 4 bad losses and a strength of schedule in the 200s. That rarely, if ever. In fact, I can't even think of a team where that got rewarded with an at-large bid. So, no, they seem to be on the outside. In fact, they're not even in the top 2 of potential at-large teams outside of the major conferences.
Well, they'll be looking to get the win then and not have to deal with that.
I think they're going to win anyway.
I think they're going to. I do.
Anyway.
I think they're going to win anyway. But that'd be tough to keep them out if for some reason they lose, because it's basketball and it can happen, and it's college kids and it can happen. As for who disappointed you the most, Jerry, who's your biggest loser on this day?
It's Texas. I mean, Texas had a chance to help their flailing NCAA tournament hopes by winning at home against a team that they were competing with, and they failed again. And now they've got 14 losses, 17-14 overall. That's not a good record, enough record to get in. They're 10-14 against the top 3 quadrants. That's just wretched. 4 of those losses are quad 2. Now, by the time Texas gets enough wins to be considered an at-large team, they're going to be the SEC champion. I don't think that's going to happen either.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point by Jerry there. I will say the ACC overall is a big loser. I'll start with that because North Carolina missed its opportunity to get a win at home against Duke and really strengthen its tournament profile. And so now you look at the ACC, it's 3 tournament teams. I mean, UNC is going to have to make a big push in the ACC tournament and have to beat Duke in order to get back into this conversation. So what we have here is an ACC pacing toward matching its lowest number of bids ever in 3. Here's the difference. The ACC basically has double the amount of teams now as when it last only put 3 into the tournament. So this is going to be a record that could stand the test of time in terms of if the ACC only sends 3 to the big dance, it's going to be the lowest percentage for any power conference team we've ever seen. I can't even imagine another conference, unless maybe the ACC again ever does something like this. And then take it a different direction. Let's go earlier on Saturday. I have to mark Marquette down as a loser. It lost at the buzzer in overtime to a great St. John's team. I get all that. Here's the deal about Marquette, if you were not aware. The Golden Eagles have not beat a projected NCAA tournament team since January 3. That is Creighton. And in fact, if you don't want to say Xavier is for sure in the tournament, then in the last one prior to that was the win over Wisconsin on December 7th, Hakeem. So Marquette safely in the field, but man, they have just not been able to get the kind of wins and consistency down the stretch here. This is a program that not so long ago was looking like, okay, do they have hope to be a 3 seed? Okay, well, maybe it might be a 4. They just continue to slide, and now, Hakeem and Jerry, Marquette plays Xavier in the Thursday quarterfinal 4-5 game, and that is a win-and-in type of situation for Xavier. Marquette is going to get an absolute just game there in Midtown Manhattan. So for me, Marquette, a notable loser on Saturday.
Perhaps a seed line bump for St. John's there. We're about to find out. Week away from Selection Sunday. Jerry, what changes are you making to the bracket following Saturday?
Well, I mean, Marquette's a good choice, Matt. And I'm actually going to stay in the same state, Wisconsin. Losing at home to Penn State, I had Wisconsin as a 2. They're definitely going to be no better than a 3, and they could even be a 4 by the time this is all said and done. That's just that's the kind of loss that a team like Wisconsin should not take. You know, this is a better team theoretically than the one that they showed on Saturday, and Wisconsin is going to pay the price for losing to a team at home that's not even going to participate in the Big Ten tournament because they didn't qualify. That's about as bad a loss as you can take in this league, and it's definitely going to hurt their seed.
So who takes their place on the 2 line then?
Right now, Texas A&M.
Okay, not St. John's.
Not yet.
Any reaction?
It's fascinating. St. John's has such a gaudy win total. Now, Jerry's probably talking a lot about what the metrics say, quad 1 and all that. Keep an eye on the Johnnies, though. They are pacing toward potential sweep of the regular season and the Big East Tournament Championship. They got to do it. They got to win 3 more games. But the Johnnies and where they land overall will be intriguing. I'm of the belief that if St. John's wins the Big East Tournament, there is no argument against them being a 2 seed.
There we go. 1 week away from Selection Sunday. Jerry Palm, Matt Norlander here with us on CBS Sports HQ. Men, thank you. And coming up on Sunday on CBS, Michigan and Michigan State closing out the regular season, noon Eastern, followed by the State Farm Missouri Valley Championship between Drake and Bradley. And it's the women's Big Ten title game between USC, UCLA. Trojans beat the Bruins twice in the regular season. Their only 2 losses of the season. You can also watch the action streaming live on Paramount+.
You need your sports news all the time.
We've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap.
We're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.